It's the sports showpiece tournament. There's huge excitement in India as the unbeaten hosts prepare to do battle against Australia in the final of the Cricket World Cup. Heading into the match as favourites, it's been 10 years since India last won a major international tournament. Well, for more, let's cross live now to our correspondent in New Delhi. Pavni Maital is standing by for us. Pavni, lots of excitement there in India. They're the only team in the tournament that hasn't lost a single game. Tell us, what's the atmosphere like there?
Well, you absolutely nailed it, Sharon. There is a lot of excitement nationwide. Now, I'm coming to you from a pub in New Delhi. We're basically just a few hundred miles from where the final between Australia and India is being held. And it is slightly empty right now. The place is slowly filling up. We're still a few minutes away from the first ball, actually the match from officially beginning. What we have in terms of the latest updates is that there was a toss between the captains, and the Australians won and have chosen to bowl first. Now, for those of you who may not know cricket very well, I'll try and summarize it. You basically have two teams. They both take a shot at the crease. They will be facing 50 overs each, and right now India will be at the crease first, facing 50 overs, and then the Australians will try and beat that score. Now, as you mentioned, yes, India is hosting the World Cup. In fact, this is the first time that India is hosting the World Cup on its own, and this team has had a stellar tournament. The only undefeated team, and one of its top players also recently breaking a world record. That's not to say that Australians are not well matched. In fact, they're quite a formidable team, and they have won quite a few World Cups themselves. Now, this match is going to be played for about 8 to 10 hours, so a lot can happen, and one can hope that at least you'll get to see some good cricket.
And just briefly, Pavni, the tournament, it's also been politically significant, hasn't it, coming so close to elections there?
Well, there has been a lot of display of nationalism, and not necessarily in the best way. For example, many have noted that attendance in non-India matches has been quite low. And that has been partially blamed on mismanagement by organizers, particularly when it comes to processing visas. And then some fans have been criticized for heckling players from Afghanistan and Pakistan. And in this current political environment, that is being looked at as Islamophobic. And finally, like you mentioned, the elections, it is hard to miss that this match is being played at a stadium named after the sitting Prime Minister. The Narendra Modi Stadium also hosted the opening match and the big India versus Pakistan match. And the fact that the Indian team are the favourites to win doesn't hurt the government just months before the general elections.
And that match, as you say, about to kick off, if that is the correct phrasing. Thank you so much for your time in the programme. That is independent journalist Pavni.
Hundreds of millions of people in India this Sunday are gripped by cricket fever more than ever with their team in the final of the 50-over Cricket World Cup. That is taking place right now with the game underway in Ahmedabad in India. The hosts are in to bat after Australia won the toss and opted to bowl. It has been 10 years since India last won a major international tournament, and this time they have had a streak of 10 straight tournament wins. Will they clinch it? For more on this, I'm joined by Pavni Maital, who is reporting for us from New Delhi. Hi to you, Pavni. Now, they haven't lost a game, and they have a hero for this World Cup, Virat Kohli. Will this be cricketing heaven for India?
Well, it is, and right now actually there's a lot of nervousness because we're still pretty much early in the game and India has lost 3 wickets, but hopes are high because one of the most beloved players is batting right now. That is Virat Kohli. You can probably see him in those screens behind me. Now, Kohli is the former captain of the Indian cricket team. He is one of the world's highest paid athletes. He's married to a movie star, and he has had a stellar tournament. As I speak, he is the highest scorer of this entire tournament. He also recently broke a world record for the maximum number of centuries, that is 100 runs, in this one-day international format. So all hopes and a lot of love are hinging on his performance right now.
Now, this tournament has been a showcase for Indian cricket there, as you've been telling us, and it's also been a showcase for the Indian Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, who is basking in this World Cup success. Elections are due next year. There is a political angle on this.
Oh, definitely. And if India wins, this would be a great way for India to wrap up what has been a great year internationally, which includes a successful moon landing a few months ago and, of course, that successful G20. As far as domestic politics is concerned, this match is being held at a stadium named after the sitting Prime Minister. And the Narendra Modi Stadium has hosted the biggest matches this tournament. It has also, by the way, in the past doubled up as a diplomatic political arena of sorts, hosting rallies of Prime Minister Modi with other world leaders, including former American President Donald Trump. So whichever way the match goes, it is definitely great advertising for the Prime Minister and the government heading into elections in about 6 months.
Thank you to you, Pavni Mittal, reporting for us there from New Delhi. You will be giving us updates. Now, hundreds of millions of people in India this Sunday are gripped by cricket fever more than ever, with their team in the final of the 50-over Cricket World Cup. That is taking right now in Ahmedabad. India last won the Cricket World Cup in 2011. This match is their 11th game in the tournament. They won all 10 of the previous matches. I'm joined now by journalist Pavni Mittal in New Delhi. Pavni, how is it going for India?
Well, I'm coming to you from a sea of very anxious and nervous fans. That sentiment is pretty palpable over here. Earlier today, Australia restricted India to a low score, and right now actually it seems like Australia has the edge, but this match could go right down to the wire. Now, another incident is making news, an incident on the pitch, not involving cricket. A man has been arrested for breaching security. He ran right into the pitch and got quite close to cricketer Virat Kohli. Now, he was wearing clothes that had messages supporting Palestine. In a video later, he said that he is Australian. Now, just to be clear, we didn't see that incident live on TV because the cameras had cut away. But videos and photographs of the incident are now going viral on social media. Speaking of political messaging, it is important to note that this match is taking place at a stadium named after India's current Prime Minister. So whoever wins, I think it's safe to say that the Indian government, particularly the Prime Minister, is getting some great advertising just months ahead of the general election.
Thank you to you, Pavni Mittal there, reporting from New Delhi about a superb cricket final there underway.
Let's get you some sports news now. And the five-time world champions Australia have beaten India in the Cricket World Cup final. The match then was played at the Narendra Modi Stadium. That's the world's largest cricket venue with a seating capacity of about 132,000. Well, outside of these stadiums in India, hundreds of people, I should say 100 millions of people, were watching the game nationwide. There were towns and villages completely transfixed to big public screens. We can take the temperature there. We can head to New Delhi. Pavni Mittal is an independent journalist. Pavni, we can imagine that the disappointment has very much set in where you are. What more can you tell us?
Well, the mood has changed, and how. Earlier today, this pub where I'm at was at capacity. It was so loud, you could barely hear the sound of your voice. There was no space to walk. And now just look around me, there's practically nobody. There's just a couple of families who are here for dinner. And in fact, there was a point in the match when it felt like, when India and Australia were neck and neck, and it felt like it could really go down to the wire. But over the last 1 hour, it became very clear that the favourites, that is Team India, were not going to win the World Cup. The stadium also had started emptying out. This place had started emptying out. Fans are disappointed. Some of them were crying. And it is important to remember that in India, cricket is the largest cultural unifier. It is practically a religion, and cricketers are demigods. And so that really tells you about how disappointed people really are. Still, it is important to note that at the end of the tournament, some of the Indian players will be walking away with individual laurels. You know, Virat Kohli, the highest score getter, Mohammad Shami, the highest wicket taker. But in the end, I think everybody will acknowledge that Australia was the better team today. At the beginning of the match, the captain of the Australian team said that their goal was to silence the 100,000 plus fans in the stadium. And in the end, Australia did just that as they clinched their 6th World Cup title.
All right, Bhavani, we can't win them all. Keeping us up to date, though, from New Delhi. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Well, there you are. You are up to date. You can join us here on France 24. We'll have more international headlines in about 15 minutes' time. We hope to see you then.